welcome to the Colorblind Architect Podcast. I'm your host, David Clayton, and excuse the wind noise. Yeah, that's right. I'm up on a ridge. This is actually one of my favorite little spots, this little ridge in between the city of Bountiful and the city of Salt Lake. And the reason why I'm up here is because I like to hike. Yeah. And why wouldn't I like to hike? I mean, after all, it is so awesome that I get to live so close to such beauty that I can just, anytime I can just pop in the car, go up to the trailhead, and within about 5-10 minutes of my house, I am on a hiking trail. And not just any hiking trails with real views and real beauty. Let's just pan around. I mean, after all, this is what you get when you live in such a beautiful place like I do here in Utah. Now, why do I bring this up? I bring this up because, I've been talking a lot about politics lately, and that's not the only thing I'm interested in. I am also very much interested in the environment. Not necessarily as like a traditional environmentalist, I'd say more like a conservationist or someone who believes in good stewardship of the earth. And a large part of the reason is, I mean, come on, just look at this. I mean, this is where I live. I live in a beautiful place. I live in a place where I get to enjoy the great outdoors anytime I want. And so anytime I see pollution, it really bothers me. Now, to that point, let's look back at the Salt Lake Valley. You can see the Salt Lake Valley beyond me. It's probably a little bit easier if I stand over here, but there's Salt Lake City right down there. And if you look way off in the distance, you can see Draper, Utah. And you can see this faint little haze. Now, this year, of course, 2020, has actually been one of the cleanest years I've seen since I've lived here. And you might be wondering why. Why has it been cleaner this year than prior years? It's been cleaner largely because there's been a lot less traffic on the roads due to the pandemic. And so we got to enjoy a much cleaner air this year than we normally get to enjoy. Anybody who knows the Salt Lake Valley knows that it is absolutely terrible air when it comes to the months of January and July. Those are by far the worst. I'd say January, it definitely wins. That typically is when the worst air of all hits us here in Salt Lake. And why is that? Well, just look. Look at the valley. See how it's shaped like a big, huge bowl? And you see the Wasatch Mountains over here? Those Wasatch Mountains act as basically a giant wall. The pollution comes from all the little point sources. So we're talking cars, power plants, furnaces, when people are burning gas or fuel oil in order to heat their homes. Most people here in Utah, they use natural gas, which makes sense because natural gas is relatively cheap here, and it's a lot cleaner than most other sources of combustion. But that combustion still produces carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and a few other hydrocarbon, type pollutions that would come up. Obviously, way cleaner than coal, way cleaner than fuel oil. So, can we do better? Yeah, but about the shape of the valley, the reason why that's relevant. Okay, so look, you've got the mountains that acts as a wall. Well, the winds predominantly come from the west and blow towards the mountains there on the east. So what tends to happen is the pollution gets trapped down here in the valley, hits up against that wall of the mountains, and it doesn't move. It's kind of gross. Usually takes a storm to get that pollution to be sent on its way packing up over the mountains and onto Colorado. Yes, that's right. Our pollution goes to Colorado. But hey, we get the pollution from California and Nevada. And during the wildfires, we were getting orange skies full of ash and smoke from the California wildfires. Right here, 800 miles away in Salt Lake City. So an interesting thing happens here in the Salt Lake area. Now, many of you who might be familiar with politics might be familiar with the fact that Utah is a very Republican state, but it is also a very weird Republican state. It's weird in the fact that Utah and its citizens, although voting very conservative, very Republican, are probably the biggest pro-environmentalists of any Republican state. We vote for clean air. We vote for controls, limits on that air, because we have to breathe it. And we love the outdoors. I mean, after all, that's why I live here. I grew up in Virginia. And had I stayed in Virginia, Virginia's a great place. Air's usually really clean there, despite the fact that they pollute a lot more than we do here in Utah. However, they've got a lot more trees. So let's talk about those trees. See, this is just a scrub oak. It's not much of a tree. Where I grew up, that's called shrubbery. But here in Utah, that is a tree. And those trees help to clean the air. Now, the more trees you have, obviously, the better the air. So, what do we do about it? Now, any of you not familiar with me personally, and if you've come across this channel and you've watched my other videos, you've probably noticed I've talked a lot about politics, and yet the title of my channel, the name of my channel, is The Colorblind Architect. So I'm an architect, right? And as an architect, I design buildings. And that's one place that we can really improve on the quality of our air. Now, we, of course, mentioned cars, and you know, give my props to Elon Musk. He's awesome. I really love what he's doing with Tesla and trying to bring about combustionless transportation, or electric vehicles, as it's called. Now, here's the thing, though. Is it actually combustionless? Well, at the point of the car, yes. There's no pollution coming out of the tailpipe of the car. However, in a state like Utah, where most of the electric power production is coming from coal and natural gas, which means that we still have pollution coming from those cars by virtue of them being charged by the electric power grid that's supplied by coal and natural gas. So how do we solve that issue? Well, for one, we need to start putting more solar panels on our houses and our buildings. Now, do I think that that's necessarily something that everybody needs to be forced to? No. Actually, I think we can do that without having to use the government so much. The thing is, the prices of solar panels have been going down for the past 10 years. It's a better time now than ever to buy solar panels. What else can you do? You can also get batteries. Batteries are a great option. Tesla has its Powerwall. There's a lot of other options out there. And I think you really need to consider these options if you really want to do your part to clean up the air. So how do I do this as an architect? Well, right now I'm working on an apartment complex that has solar panels. It has batteries. In addition, we've gone through great lengths to try to design the system so that the heating and air conditioning works on the most efficient system that we can possibly choose, and that it doesn't combust natural gas. Instead, it uses all electric heating for the boilers. And then on top of that, we're also committing to using renewable energy for our electric consumption. So we're going to be buying that from the power grid, and we can actually sign a contract with the power company and say, nope, we're only going to buy renewable energy. Now, why are we doing this? Again, it's because I love this place. I love nature, and I love how beautiful it is here. And I want to have clean air to breathe when I'm out here hiking and when I'm skiing. So I hope I hope this message helps any of you. Again, I know this isn't my normal. I normally talk about politics, which I don't mean to, but frankly, I needed a break, and today it was a good time to talk about something that I really enjoy. Um, so with that, I leave you. Until next time, I'm the colorblind architect. Peace out.